So magnesium is, as you know, that is one of the micronutrient like calcium, phosphorus, and how we have sodium is in the same range. So we need enough of magnesium.
Hello, everyone. My name is Asim Gul, and I'm an integrative nutrition health coach. I welcome you all again to Back to Basics, a place where we focus on the power of basic lifestyle changes to heal ourselves. To all the people who are watching this video and have been following my channel, I would still ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already to get updated on all the recent videos that we are making on different topics that you've already seen. Today's video is another episode of a series of nutritional deficiencies that we started last week. And if you have been experiencing one of those symptoms like muscle cramps, anxiety, bone weakness, fatigue, high blood pressure, or any other digestive problems like irritable bowel syndrome or nausea, and many other symptoms that we'll be talking about, this video is going to be very helpful for you. Magnesium is one of the most neglected nutrient deficiencies that we have been looking at these days. And since it's responsible for absorption of several key nutrients, deficiency of magnesium can lead to several other problems. Let's hear more about it from Roshan Kumar, founder of wellnessbyrosh.com. Last time we covered vitamin D, and we received a request from a number of people to cover more on nutritional deficiencies. So if you haven't watched that episode on vitamin D yet, I'm sharing the link below in the description. Please go and watch it. Um, so, Roshan, how are you?
Hello, Asim. Nice to hear from you again.
Thank you,
So
Roshan,
I'm good.
for joining us again.
Thank you for welcoming me again for the talk on the wellness on your back to basic. Your program. That's
My
really
pleasure.
nice to be here. Yeah.
My pleasure, Roshan. So, Roshan, I think I also, hear about magnesium deficiency, but, let's just drill down to the fact why in the first place people have magnesium deficiency today.
Yeah. So if we talk about like a decade ago, there was no talk about magnesium. Magnesium is more like a buzzword now. Like why and we don't have enough blood test like to prove that we are deficient other than symptoms. So the main reason for magnesium deficiency is we have, the kind of the agriculture, like the processed food and the monoculture agriculture followed, the kind of the processed food and the white sugar consumptions, the drinks, what we have like carbonated drinks, they all drain the magnesium down through kidney. So beside this, the other, a lot of people, of certain age, they start medications like hypertension, diabetes, and stuff, and they all kind of medication affects the absorption of magnesium. Vitamin D deficiency is another factor which can lead to the less absorption of magnesium. And then we have like constipation and a lot of symptoms wise. So like mainly the water, like our soil and water used to be very rich before, but now from last decade, everything has been depleted because of industrialization. So the more food and more kind of more
Soil is
consumption, but
basically over-exhausted with the current farming practices. Yeah.
right, right. And
And
also aging is the factor. Like when we age, we tend to absorb less, and if we have any health issues, we tend to absorb less of magnesium through the diet. Yes.
to sum it up, so it's basically a mix of both external factors and internal factors as well. When you in internal factors, you mention about our gut health and our if you're constipated, we are not absorbing magnesium efficiently. If you're not spending enough time in the sun, vitamin D deficiency can also lead to lack of absorption of magnesium. So that's great. So I mentioned a few symptoms of magnesium deficiency that our body experiences on a regular basis. But what are more symptoms that you would want to talk about?
Yeah, so the most important what you feel like during the day when you have a lunch or breakfast, and even if you take caffeine or tea or coffee, still you are feeling sleepiness, you are having a brain fog. That's the first important, that you are not having enough energy to do your day-to-day work. You are feeling exhausted and you wanted to sleep like a power nap.
That's pretty
So
common.
that's the most,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty common. True.
That's very common. So I have like a list of symptoms. Like if you have at least two or three of them, then that means you are magnesium deficient. So
Oh.
like one of them I said is the fatigue and brain fog. Then you have like sleep issues, like you're anxious in the night and your cortisol is high and you're not able to sleep like restful sleep. That's another thing. Then apart from this, loss of appetite is another. You are constipated is another major one. If you have a deficiency in calcium or potassium, that's also the because of magnesium. And if you have a headache, migraine, they are very common, like especially women, they are more okay. So I was talking about the magnesium like symptoms, like because right now we don't have blood tests to actually tell. We'll go back into the detail and later on, but I think if you have brain fog, if you are feeling not enough energy to do your activities in the during the daytime, if you're having a sleep problem, you are having a muscle soreness or cramp or a or like a pain in your knees or muscles, that because of calcium less absorption, which is again magnesium trigger the calcium absorption. And if you have any other health disease like diabetes type 2, hypertension, strong like very strong like like constipated all the time, and loss of appetite, these are the other lifestyle disease is also indication that you are having a magnesium deficiency. And
Mm.
there's certain small thing I want to just mention. Suppose if you are getting irritated, like you are very anxious or stressed, or if there's a sudden noise and you get angry on that,
Mood
the
swings. Yeah.
intolerance, yes, mood swings, intolerance, like an intolerance to pain, intolerance to the environmental things, they are also like we are like deficient in magnesium.
Mm. So all the symptoms that you have mentioned are pretty common these days, Roshan. I see so many people. I think I've experienced a lot of them myself, and then have corrected my level of magnesium intake. So that really calls for an action to look at this neglected nutrient for a lot of people that haven't been really looking at it from that perspective. Okay, so tell me about the fact that if we do obtain the magnesium, optimal magnesium level, then what are the benefits of it?
Yes, so once you have a, like the RDA recommended dose is like 420 milligram. So magnesium is, as you know, that is one of the micronutrient like calcium, phosphorus, and how we have sodium is in the same range. So we need enough of magnesium, and my first practice like recommendation will be to have through the dietary, but because of the reason we discussed like food, and we don't have that good quality of food nowadays, so we have to take supplementation. So some of the things, what if you start taking magnesium, you will feel like some people might feel like bowel movement has been more normal. You will have two or three of bowel movement every day, your things will start moving out, like it clears some of the pathways like which is blocked, and once the pathways are clean, you will have a neurological benefits, like you will have a good sleep, your mood will be better, you will have less stress, your energy level will increase because it will increase all the pathways. And magnesium is so important for our cell like cellular level, like for the communication on the neurons, like on the nervous system. So magnesium is also is it kind of it turns on the parasympathetic nervous system. So you will have the effect of cooling down and like less stress. So these are the things for women, like if they are having a PMS symptoms, I recommend to take a high doses of magnesium before their menstrual cycle, so it will improve and they will have less fatigue and they will feel better. So
That's true. So,
uh,
to put it in simple words, it has physiological, psychological, neurological, all these benefits. Once you achieve the optimal magnesium level, you will feel more energy. You will feel less cramps, fewer cramps in your muscles. Soreness will
yes,
go away, and mood swings will go away, and all those things that we discussed about. And obviously, from women as well, as you said, if they are experiencing menstrual cramps, they will also be reduced. So one of the reasons why they feel or they experience painful menstrual cramps is primarily or can be possibly because of magnesium deficiency. Great. So we talked about symptoms, we talked about the benefits of attaining the optimal level. Now, what should be the course of action for anybody to follow if they want to achieve an optimal level of magnesium?
So I will recommend, like, dietary way, like try to have a magnesium rich diet. And like you have to take a lot of like seeds and nuts, and even the dark chocolate, which is having a 80% above
Which
of
seeds and nuts are you talking about? Can you please tell us which nuts and seeds have more
okay.
magnesium?
So the quantity of magnesium highest is in Brazilian nuts. Then you have almonds, pecans, pistachios, cashew,
Cash.
and sunflower seed, pine nuts, and then pumpkin seeds, hemp seed. All this and all the bran and the cereal part. Like we talk about like the cereals like quinoa, amaranth, or millets. So
Hmm.
the fiber part have more magnesium. And
Okay.
then we
There are
have
a lot
like
of options,
dark green.
basically. There are a lot of
Yes,
options.
and dark green. Yes, and dark green vegetables, like the fruits
Okay.
and vegetables. So the for if I compare with plants, for plants, the chlorophyll is most important for their cellular health. It's like a mitochondria of the plant. So similarly, magnesium is something important for our cell health.
I
And
see.
most of the magnesiums are not found in our blood, or when you do a serum test, they are actually stored in tissues and in the bones, which cannot be measured actually. So there are a lot of this like dietary way will be the try to cover at least 40-50% through dietary, and then the rest you can manage through either through the you can do a Epsom salt soaking or bath, or you can apply a magnesium chloride oil before taking bath. That will like it will absorb magnesium through the skin. The other way will be like taking
Salts.
supplement.
You
Yeah.
talk about Epsom salts. Epsom salts also have magnesium, you said?
Yes, Epsom salt has got a magnesium sulfate. So
Okay.
what I'll say that magnesium is like ionic in nature. Like they are highly, they cannot, they always combine and they cannot be just independent. So always a magnesium exists with some kind of composition, like either magnesium malate or sulfate or chloride or glycinate. They always combine, and some of the compound they are like strong bonding,
Hmm.
and some of them are like loosely bound, so they can easily dissolve in the acidic environment. And magnesium is alkaline in nature. They are like positive charge for our neurons and for our cellular health. So they balance the electric flow of the like our neuron communication.
That's
So
true.
yeah.
That's true. That's great. So we have a couple of options in terms of dietary choices that we make in terms of nuts, seeds, dark chocolate, and Epsom salts or other magnesium chloride oil or any other, as you said, like products which come with a combination of magnesium with some other element. That's great. So how do we check the magnesium level and how do we interpret the results?
Yes, one thing to add on the diet, like also when you are eating healthy, also try to avoid too much alcohol or smoking, because they eliminate magnesium through the kidney. So,
Okay, that's a very
and
good
then suppose,
point. That's a very good
yeah.
point. People who
So
are
yeah, try to eliminate like not too much. Like sometimes when you are, it's okay to have celebrations and all, but not like regularly basis.
yeah, that's true.
So
When I talk to people and tell them, they're like, "You're against us enjoying. That's why you are recommending all of these things." But we got to enjoy life as well. So I think it's part of it. You can do things in moderation. Nothing is really bad if it's done in moderation. But when you overdo anything, that's when things go really bad. So tell us more about the lab tests and how can we interpret the results?
So unfortunately, in the lab, we don't have like whatever the test, like we do the serum magnesium. That is actually that is 1% of the total magnesium present in the blood, just 1%. So we are measuring thus the serum magnesium from out 1% from 100%. So you can think of that result is not something significant. I mean, we should not actually do a blood test on magnesium. I mean, it will be most of the time I have seen in my test or my family test, they were always in the range, what the lab interpretation range. And there are some labs, they do something called RBC magnesium, red blood cell magnesium, but they are rarely not, I don't find in many labs. So some of the labs have authorization, or maybe they have that facilities to do that test. So RBC magnesium is very important. Though RBC magnesium is also a little bit like, it's like 2% of the blood. So it's like better than the serum magnesium. But I'll say that if you really want to do magnesium test, you can do it and just be on the 80th percentile of the range. Like suppose the value is like between 4 to 6, so try to be like above 5.5 in the serum magnesium. But even if the serum magnesium is report is saying you are a good amount of magnesium, you might have deficiency of magnesium. So it's always go back and check the symptoms, what symptoms you have in day-to-day life.
Way to go about it. And I think it's a very good point. People, they look at a range and they say, okay, if as long as we fall in the range, we are safe. But as you said, we should, try to strike the 80th percentile uh, to be on the more positive side. And I think go back and check symptoms. That's the best way to really look at it. That's great. So
One more point, Asim, that also check the calcium, calcium in your blood report. When you have not enough magnesium, you will also have less calcium because
okay.
magnesium promote the calcium absorption in your bones. So also there's other way to check like calcium as well.
So calcium deficiency can also be linked to vitamin D deficiency, right?
Yes, yes,
Please correct me there.
yes.
That's great.
So vitamin D and then magnesium, because magnesium is the one which makes the calcium store in the on the bone in the bones. Otherwise, calcium will be more in the arteries, and they are going to cause hypertension and no, those calcifications and kidney stones. Like you have calcium oxalates. So magnesium is one of the most important mineral. If somebody has a kidney stone, and if they pump up their magnesium supplementation or the regular intake, it can actually help in getting rid of the calcium oxalate, like the kidney stone.
That's a very good point, I guess, Roshan, because people who are experiencing kidney stones, they don't understand the fact that it's because of the calcium already available in our bodies that leads to calcification and all the stones being formed in our kidneys. So we really need to understand about mobilizing calcium so that the
Yeah.
calcification doesn't happen. And
Yeah.
so, very important thing that you have highlighted here, that if you have kidney stones or you want to stay away from developing any kidney stones, it's good to check your magnesium levels and keep your magnesium level at the optimal point. That's great. And what are the supplements, by the way?
So as I said, like try to cover like 40-50% through your diet, and then like rest, which we can't. We know that because of our daily symptoms and like so we are what I know from my experience, like always try to take multiple form of magnesium. There are supplementation which has a composition of like they have suppose like a magnesium malate or magnesium taurate or magnesium citrate or magnesium glycinate. So they are like these are the four major form which are actually absorbed. But what I want to recommend is see your symptoms, see where you have the issues. Like if you have issues in your GI tract, then check the magnesium which is good for you, which can be stored before in the duodenum and the portion of the intestine where some magnesium will be stored before, some might go flush out through the kidney or to the bowel movement. So suppose my tip will be like if you are constipated, the best form is citrate, magnesium citrate. As I said, all the magnesium we can't, they are ionic and they are always in the some form. So citrate will have citric acid, simple malate will have malic acid. Malic is from plant. So if your body is intolerant to certain kind of acid, then you have to observe and then try to change the form. And maybe try to take like always split the dose like in the morning and evening and afternoon so that so that you are able to tolerate the magnesium, because magnesium also create bowel movement, and so you don't need to have diarrhea or if you take magnesium. So always separate them. Try to take like if you want to have a good sleep, take glycinate. Malic is for energy, so take magnesium malate in the morning when you need a lot of
So
energy.
what is the dosage that you recommend?
So usually the supplementation, like I will say, the RDA recommendation is 420 milligrams. So since we are covering some 420 milligram is for men and 320 for women, and for kids up to from 80 milligram to 220 milligram age, depending upon 4 years to 14 years. So what I say that try to cover from your healthy diet. If you don't have a time to create all these nuts and seeds and all this kind of healthy nut butters and stuff, then probably you have to opt for a supplementations, separated over morning and evening. At least start with uh, a minimum dose.
Yeah.
So if you buy a supplement, they will be usually split. suppose this is a 400 milligram, means it will be split into 3 servings or 6 servings. So you
Mm,
might start with 2 servings or 3 servings, which will cover like 100 to 120 milligram of magnesium,
true,
and
true.
rest you are trying to cover through diet.
That's great. That's it. That's, as you said, I think dietary ways are better, but you can always start with a small dosage. And, so do we take it all our life, or how does it work?
So you can take without food when you can take any point in time, and then like best is like I mean take in the morning and the evening, and then have a different multiple forms. Not always stick to the one form. So
Mm,
try what form works for you, your body, and see for a couple of days, and also check with your medical practitioner. In case if you have kidney issues, I will recommend always to check and start with minimum dose, because kidney is the one which flushing out the excess of magnesium. So if kidney is not working properly, then your magnesium, there are no, I mean, that kind of cases where, I've seen in the research paper that, but somebody has a issues, but this is something like caution, like if you have kidney health issues, start with minimum magnesium and always check with your medical doctors.
that's great. So any other risk factors besides kidney disease where we have to watch out for supplementation?
I mean, I have seen like suppose for malate, magnesium malate, since it is plant based, it is a malic acid. Some people do not absorb malic acid. So we should be just try a few days. If it is causing you gas or bloating or or diarrhea, then try to switch to other form, but don't give up, because magnesium is so important. I mean, you have like at least five to six form, and there's other one thing. If it is easy to get magnesium hydrogen peroxide, and if you get a soda water, you can actually prepare a magnesium water in your home, and you can store in the refrigerator and drink for several days. For that, you need a chemical, not chemical grade, a pure grade. It's a chemical, but something, pure form, and which doesn't have any other ingredients like magnesium hydroperoxide. And some of the magnesiums are not actually able to store properly, or they are not absorbed properly, like magnesium chloride or magnesium oxide, and so we should avoid those things. And when if you are taking suppose a Epsom salt soaking in the night, or you want to use a magnesium oil which is magnesium chloride, then maybe you skip your supplements. So you take in the morning, and the evening you do the Epsom salt soaking, or you, if you're taking a bath, you're doing a massage with magnesium chloride. So that way you balance things, but always try to have a daily intake, at least to come above like to RDA recommended dosage.
That's great. Any other myths do you think there are around magnesium deficiency? Any misunderstood facts?
I mean, what the most important thing is like, no, people are not aware about whether they are magnesium deficient. I've
Yeah,
never seen a doctor recommending a magnesium as a supplementation. It is so ignored, and like that's the biggest myth. I mean, that we can take enough in our through our plants and through the food what we are taking. But this is something. Uh, I mean, if you are actually practicing like having a daily recommended doses of magnesium, your life will change so much. I mean, you'll be so energetic, whatever the age you are, doesn't matter. I mean, it will really change. I think that's the most awareness is the most, like, we need to create awareness for this magnesium.
that's a very good way of putting it, Roshan. How you said. I think it's probably because people don't know about it too much. A lot of factors are beyond their control. How you said the recent farming practices have ripped the soil of its nutrients, and people feel everything is fine in their food chain when the amount of nutrients that they used to have, let's say a decade or two ago, is not the same anymore. And they really need to look at what they are obtaining from their diet and what they are not. So all the symptoms that you mentioned about magnesium deficiency are just, I think, a witness to what we are facing these days. And I think we need to correct this level if we are to have
One
higher.
more point. Yeah. One more point I missed, that, like since we are taking a lot of grains and seeds, and if you're not soaking enough, like especially wheat, they have got gliadin protein, and they are actually they have a lot of phytates. So phytates are like anti-nutrients. So they actually bind to magnesium and calcium and iron, and they deplete through our body. So we are also losing magnesium because of the phytates in the grains, and because of alcohol consumptions and the soda
What do
water
we do
and
with the grains, as you said, if there are phytates in the grains? I mean, do we reduce our consumption?
Yes, I mean, choose the grains which have got, seeds, for example. If you almond or almond seed or Brazilian nut and all this pumpkin seed, you must soak overnight. Then the phytates are dissolved in the water and you don't have that much phytate content.
Okay, so
Because
that's the reason why they recommend that soaking almonds overnight and then having it in the morning is a better idea than just to have it right away.
yes, before, if you remember, when I was a kid or you were a kid, we even for wheat we used to wash it, wash, and then dry and then grind it. Nowadays we buy the package, just buy the wheat from the market, and we don't know how they are prepared. So there are a lot of phytates in the wheat. So we have to have a moderation in the diet. Choose like rice don't have phytates, so choose a form which is more, less phytates, and have a moderation. It will be the key here to manage.
Great. That's great. That's great. So that's amazing. I think this information is going to go a long way in helping people out there. Thank you, Roshan, once again for sharing a wealth of knowledge on another important nutrient deficiency. For all the people who are watching this, a lot of problems, common problems that you are facing on a daily basis may probably be linked to magnesium deficiency. So either see what you are eating, correct your magnesium levels right away if you are facing any of those symptoms, and you will feel better, as we already discussed in this video. And please share your comments and feedback regarding this video. And until next time, take lots of care of yourself because you matter.